What's up, guys? I'm Jake Terry.
I'm Kaden Zepley, and we're from Young Outdoors, and we're sitting here on the Mississippi River in Hannibal, Missouri, and we're with our friend Billy Yargus.
For those of you that don't know who Billy Yargus is, we'll have him introduce himself and say a little bit about himself.
Hi, I'm Billy Yargus. I'm with Woodhaven Custom Calls and Mossy Oak Camouflage, Apex Ammunition. Those are the things that I use to kill turkeys in the spring and in the fall. We're getting close to the end of fall season right now. I mean, it's October 31st is the last day, and it'd be time to start thinking about those deer. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank
this
you for
is an
being
honor.
here. Yeah, thank you for being
You have some questions for me?
here. I guess I'll start with the questions. What got you into hunting?
A man named Russell Robertson asked me first to go fishing and then to go squirrel hunting, and it went on from there. I love the outdoors, and I love doing things, whether it's fishing or whether it's hunting, either one, and just kept going and kept going. And I really took a liking to the turkey hunting. I enjoy deer hunting. I enjoy it all, but there was something about calling to a turkey and getting them to come to me and have that conversation with them. So it just grew in me the whole time, and it's never left. So.
What do you do to locate a turkey?
To locate a turkey, as far as whether it be in the spring or in the fall, and in the spring, I might hoot to them. You might try a crow call. There's all kinds of different things, or you might even just try doing a hen yelp to them to get them to answer you, so you know where they're at. As far as in the fall, it's a little more difficult to locate the birds. You gotta do your scouting and figure out where they're at and where they want to be at, because it's always easier to call a turkey where he wants to be at.
All right. Have you ever called any other animal besides a turkey?
Oh yeah, I've duck hunted. I haven't duck hunted for a while, but I used to duck hunt all the time. And duck hunting is kind of like turkey hunting. Once you see them, you get to calling to them, and you work them. You try to get them in. Same with the turkeys and deer. I love to call deer. I usually use doe grunts more than I use a buck grunt, because I've had so many deer that will. You do a big buck grunt, and sometimes they'll turn around and they'll run the other direction. So I usually use a doe grunt more than I do anything, and call several deer in and kill them that way.
What's usually the first thing you do after you shoot a turkey?
After I shoot a turkey, try to get up and get over to him, because you don't want him to get away. If you use the right shells and things like that will make a good kill and make sure your gun's shooting dead on, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So I usually try to get up there to him and make sure that he's completely dead.
All right. Can you tell me about the first time that you ever called a turkey and killed it?
And killed it?
Yeah.
That was in 1981. I was hunting at the Mark Twain Lake at the corner of J and EE. It was a Jake, and I'd been working a gobbler with probably 6 or 8 hens. They were kind of off to my left where I was hunting at. There's a big ravine there, and they was working their way closer to me, and some coyotes come in and scattered them. They flushed them and run them off. I was a little aggravated at that, and I sat there for probably about another 30, 40 minutes and kept calling, and lo and behold, a Jake walked up there, and I ended up shooting him. So that was my first turkey. He wasn't very big, but I couldn't have been any happier than today if I killed a world record.
Yeah.
So.
How do you call a turkey, and what certain calls do you use?
The plain yelp would be the most important call to learn. Yelping, you might say, is the bread and butter of turkey calling. I'm going to do a little yelp for you. And this is just a plain yelp. There's nothing special about it other than trying not to get too awfully loud, but just try to have that conversation with that turkey. Once I get them talking, then what I want to do is just mimic whatever they're doing. If they start purring and clucking, I'll start purring and clucking. If they get louder and you start cutting or anything, then I'll do the same thing. So anytime you get one talking to you, you just do the same thing they're doing. You can't go wrong. This is just a plain yelp. That's a blue cutter. We make that for Woodhaven, and that can be bought anywhere in Bass Pro, Cabela's, or any of the stores right here locally, maybe Farm and Home, Game Masters. So,
What are some tips an advice you'd give about calling in turkeys?
Try to start off soft. I mean, one of the big things that I think people make a mistake on is, and especially as a kid, I know when I was a kid and I first started, Russell was in the fall. I was fall turkey hunting, and he was building a blind, a duck hunting blind with a buddy of mine, and I went across the river, Salt River is where we was hunting at. And I went across there, and he heard me up there, and he said he could hear me the whole time calling. I called very loud. I didn't kill anything that day. But that's one of the things that he taught me that day was I needed to soften it up. They shouldn't be able to hear me so loud down there the whole time. Turkeys, when you listen to them, I spent a lot of time out in the woods and watching them. Most of the time they're doing really soft stuff. You'll just hear them real soft yelping or maybe purring and clucking as they're feeding through the woods. So keep it soft. After you get the conversation going, if they bring that tone up and start getting louder, then you want to get louder yourself and just do whatever they're doing. If they're kikiing, which is a good fall turkey hunting call, start doing kiki runs and try to get those young birds to come to you. If they're gobblers, that's the other thing. If they're gobblers, you may want to do a gobbler yelp, which is a little deeper, and the gobbler doesn't yelp near as much as like the hens do and the young birds do. So know what kind of turkey you're hunting. If you're hunting in the springtime, them gobblers like to hear more of the hen talk, not so much as a gobbler yelp. So just try to figure that turkey out as you're having that conversation with them.
Is it better to sit up high when you're hunting or like down on the ground?
I personally, I mean, I like to hunt on the ground. I know guys that will sit in a deer stand, but the thing we have to remember with a deer, when they come by you, they're not so much looking up in the trees normally because most of their predators are all on the ground. So they're not walking through the woods looking up in the trees, but a turkey does. And if they see any kind of movement, or if they hear, and I see turkeys will fly up in the trees. So if you're setting up in a deer stand and a turkey comes by, and I've had this happen to me, I was bow hunting before and had turkeys come in, and the first thing they do is look straight up in the tree at me, and of course the game's over right then. So if you're hunting in a box blind, I think you'd be fine, but you have to really be careful because turkeys are all the time looking up in the air for hawks or owls or anything like that. So.
All right. What is the biggest turkey that you've ever killed weight-wise?
Weight-wise, I killed one in Kansas. I was hunting with a mossy oak. Was in the world champion turkey hunt, the championship there, and I killed a 26-pound gobbler when I was there. So that's probably the largest one. Yeah.
If a turkey's answering you, how often do you like answer back to it?
It depends. Yesterday I killed a fall turkey, a Jake, and I think I called him 15 birds, and out of all 15 birds, only one turkey was talking back to me, and it was the Jake that I killed. Okay, so he was yelping back at me, and I would answer him, not quite every time that he called to me, but every time he answered me, I would maybe talk back to him, and then it got to where he was getting a little quieter, and I started calling every once in a while periodic. So what my basics are, if the turkeys quit talking to me, about every 5 minutes I'll throw out a couple of plain yelps and try to get the turkeys to start talking back to me. And a lot of times they don't, but what they will do is they'll start working their way. And that's exactly what they was doing. They was working my way, and I had one of my horses come back in the pasture where I was hunting. And I thought maybe the game was up, but it wasn't. They didn't pay any attention to that horse. As long as the horse didn't go down and run them off. They all ended up coming right in there, and I was able to harvest a nice Jake. So.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you.
That's all the questions I have.
All right, well, thanks for
All right,
inviting me.
thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
it. Had fun.
Thank you.